So it is September the 3rd, 2019, and I'm joined by my father today. He's visiting from Corpus Christi, Texas, and also is the one who got me introduced to bees by a fellow by the name of George Lloyd. And
oh yeah.
would you recommend that?
No, I think it's a little too abrupt way to be introduced.
The way I got introduced to bees was, I think, what was I, 10 years old or so? Or
probably around there, yeah.
10. This old beekeeper, absolutely brilliant in beekeeping, but he also was rough around the edges and had an incredible reputation for liking to be stung. He kept about 800 hives up around McGregor, Manitoba, Canada. George Lloyd. And anyways, his introduction to, or my introduction to bees with him was he took me out to a really strong hive and got me stung in the face about 8 times, and laughed the whole time and said, well, I guess we'll find out if you really like bees or not. I think I was about 10, so anyways, probably not the best way, but hey, you know, look what I'm doing. I'm working with bees. So but anyway, well, we're gonna go and do a checkup here on our nuke. Been busy feeding and got all of our mite treatments done beginning of August, or started them the beginning of August. Got them done by about the 3rd week of August, which is definitely what you want to aim for in this area. As I've been previously mentioning, the threshold, the mite threshold, has lowered a lot for all of these viral issues to spread, so we really have to be on top of them even more so than what we used to have to be. This time of year, one thing that I'm spending a lot of time doing is calling out hives. Stuff goes wrong during the mite treatment. Sometimes hives will go queenless, sometimes they'll requeen themselves, sometimes they won't. My overall advice to you this time of year is just be ruthless in your culling. Something that Michael Palmer said that really is stuck in my mind is that he loves winter because it leaves him with his good stock, and I think that's really a good way of looking at it. When you're this late in the year, any hive that is sub-performing or is queenless or has drone laying issues, just shake them out. Just get rid of them and get that genetic out of your bee yard, so that in the spring you can kind of see where you're standing and reproduce from the stronger hive. So anyways, so here's our nuke, and take a look. This time of year I usually, especially when I'm out feeding and adding pollen sub, I actually usually, and these little guys here are a pain in the butt, the little yellow jackets. My apologies for the violence there, but anyway. But yeah, so bees are definitely a little more edgy. I don't know if you can see too how the population has continued to grow. Spray them down. I've had a few people message me and ask me what I'm using in this spray bottle. It's liquid smoke. The ratio of liquid smoke to water, I don't know, maybe like 1/4 of a cup of liquid smoke and the rest water, if that. You really don't have to have it that strong for it to work. That still has excellent weight to it, that green box. Really, what I'm kind of curious of, what we can check, is to see how much of that pollen sub that we gave them is consumed. I'm wanting to think that was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago that we gave them that pollen sub. Oh. And if you go back on the video, you can see we gave them a big chunk of it. And look at what's left. So what I'm going to do today, this second box here doesn't have too much weight to it. What I'm thinking is probably happening, I could even look here through the bottom to double check. But because we're giving them pollen sub, because we're feeding them, what they're probably doing is utilizing this bottom super and second super for continued brood rearing and still storing in here. So because I'm not feeling too much weight, some weight, but not too much. So got a 2-gallon feeder in there I'm going to fill up. Next week when we come around, we'll give them more pollen sub. And you know, just by looking at it, I can tell because of the way the bees are clustered here in the center that the brood nest is good. Once again, a really neat trick for if you're wanting to check your bees with minimal disturbance is to check them from the bottom. And you can see, I don't know if you can really see on the camera, but I'm seeing some cap brood. Whoops, sorry. Seeing some cap brood way deep in here. And so once again, there's really no need for me to go any further. Once again, the push this time of year is to get them up to weight. Mite treatments are done. Keep giving them good protein supplement. That's Nutri-B that I'm using from Keith Jarrett down in California. And yeah, and feed. So that's pretty well it. And just remember, once again, don't be afraid to cull heavily this time of year so that you're left with your best stock after you've gone through the winter. So anyways, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.